The profound reason God limits your success before your greatest spiritual breakthrough. In the journey of faith, many believers experience seasons of limitation, delay, and unexpected obstacles. They pray, work hard, remain faithful, and yet success seems distant, doors close. Opportunities disappear, and progress feels painfully slow. In these moments, many ask, why would God allow this? From a Catholic biblical perspective, these limitations are not always signs of divine rejection. Often, they are signs of divine preparation. God sometimes limits earthly success because He is preparing the soul for a far greater spiritual breakthrough. The Bible repeatedly shows that before great blessings come seasons of testing. God does not primarily seek our comfort, He seeks our holiness, as Romans 8:29 teaches. We are called to be conformed to the image of Christ. This transformation often requires God to remove distractions, humble pride, and purify intentions. Success, if given too early, can become dangerous. It may feed the ego, weaken dependence on God, and create the illusion that we are self-sufficient. Consider the life of Joseph in the book of Genesis. Joseph received a divine dream of greatness. Yet before its fulfillment, he experienced betrayal, slavery, false accusation, and imprisonment. Humanly speaking, his success was delayed for years, but those years were not wasted. God was shaping Joseph's character, teaching him humility, patience, wisdom, and trust. Had Joseph been elevated immediately, he may not have had the spiritual maturity necessary to govern Egypt with justice and mercy. His limitation was preparation. This same principle appears in the life of Moses. Before leading Israel out of Egypt, Moses spent 40 years in the desert. 40 years of silence, obscurity, and waiting. A man once raised in Pharaoh's palace had to learn dependence on God in the wilderness. God was not punishing Moses, He was forming him. Sometimes our deserts are classrooms where God teaches lessons success could never teach. In Catholic spirituality, suffering and limitation are not meaningless. They participate in the mystery of the cross. Jesus Himself, the Son of God, did not choose immediate glory. He embraced hidden years in Nazareth, rejection, suffering, and crucifixion before resurrection. Philippians 2 reminds us that Christ humbled Himself, becoming obedient even unto death on a cross. If the path of Christ included limitation before glory, why should we expect otherwise? Often, God limits success because He wants us to seek the giver rather than the gift. It is easy to love blessings more than the one who blesses. In seasons of abundance, prayer can become weaker, dependence decreases, but in seasons of delay, the heart cries out more deeply. We begin to pray not for things, but for God Himself. Saint Augustine famously wrote, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in You." Sometimes God allows restlessness so we can discover where true rest is found. Another profound reason for limitation is purification of motive. Why do we want success? Is it for God's glory or personal pride? Is it to serve others or to be admired? The Lord often delays achievement until the heart is purified. James 4:3 warns that sometimes prayers are unanswered because intentions are disordered. God, like a loving father, does not grant what would ultimately harm His child. Delay can be mercy. The story of St. Peter also reflects this truth. Peter was passionate, bold, and confident, but he was not yet spiritually ready. Before becoming the rock of the church, he had to face his own weakness through the denial of Christ. That painful failure broke his pride and opened his heart to grace. His greatest spiritual breakthrough came after his deepest humiliation. Sometimes God allows failure not to destroy us, but to save us from false strength. Many Catholics struggle because they interpret limitation as abandonment, but Scripture says otherwise. Hebrews 12 teaches that the Lord disciplines those He loves. Divine discipline is not rejection, it is proof of sonship. A good father does not give a child everything immediately. He forms, corrects, and prepares. God sees not only the present moment but eternity. What feels like delay to us may actually be divine timing. Moreover, limitation teaches trust. Proverbs 3-5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight." Real faith begins where control ends. When plans fail and certainty disappears, we are invited into surrender. This surrender is often the doorway to spiritual breakthrough. Grace enters most powerfully where self-reliance ends. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough is not external success but interior freedom. A person may still lack wealth, recognition, or worldly achievement, yet possess peace, joy, and deep union with God. This is true success. The saints teach us that holiness is greater than prosperity. Saint Therese of Lisieux lived a hidden life, yet her spiritual influence transformed the world. God's definition of greatness is radically different from ours. Therefore, when God limits success, it may be because He is protecting us, preparing us, purifying us, and drawing us closer to Himself. What feels like divine silence may actually be divine craftsmanship. He is building something deeper than achievement. He is building a saint. The breakthrough comes when we stop asking only, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "Lord, what are you forming in me?" In that shift, frustration becomes faith. Delay becomes discipleship. Limitation becomes grace before resurrection. There is the cross before the promised land. There is the wilderness before spiritual elevation. There is often divine restraint. God's limits are not barriers to your destiny, they are part of the path toward it, and often, just beyond the season of greatest frustration lies the greatest spiritual breakthrough of your life. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this video helpful, please like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Goodbye.